You inherited a house with your siblings, but they want to sell it and you want to keep it. Or maybe they expect way more than it's worth, and now every family dinner feels like a negotiation. If you want to buy out your siblings, you can, but only if you know how to do it right and not ruin your relationship in the process. Here's why things with siblings go sideways fast. Emotional attachment. One sibling is like, Mom wants to keep it for generational wealth. The other sibling is saying, well, Mom's not here. We need the money. Money disagreements. One sibling thinks it's worth way more than it is, or they think they deserve more because they're the older sibling, or they paid for all the repairs on the house throughout the years. No leadership. All the siblings assume somebody else is going to handle it. You have to separate family drama from what the house actually is worth. Step 1, the first thing you need to do before anything is figure out what the house is currently worth. In order to find out what the house is currently worth, you can get a CMA from a local realtor, the certified market analysis. What a realtor is going to do is going to put your address in their software and it's going to spit out what it thinks your property is worth. What you're paying for with the realtor is their expertise. Just because the software says your property is worth this or that, it takes the realtor's expertise to figure out what it will actually sell for. Another way to know how much your property is worth is to get it appraised. Appraisers are usually used to working with lenders, so they're hard to get on the phone, in my opinion, but you can get an appraisal. The thing with appraisals, in my opinion, sometimes they do come in lower than what the property is actually worth. At the end of the day, a CMA or even an appraisal is an opinion. The thing that never lies is the market, the comps, what things are actually selling for. Another way to know how much your house is worth, you can go to Zillow, put your address in. It's going to give you a Zestimate. Zillow, in my opinion, is usually accurate 60 to 70% of the time. But to get the actual number, what your house is worth, look at houses on Zillow that are near yours within a half-mile radius and see what they're selling for. Another way is you can pay for third-party software such as Propel, PropStream, Batch Leads. It's similar to the MLS that realtors use. It takes the data from the MLS, that's where Zillow gets its data as well from, to see what properties in your area are selling for. Now, you know how much the property's worth. You do have to subtract repairs. In order to get what the repairs are needed, you can get 3 contractor bids, or you can get offers from investors. Investors should come in close to what your property is worth. Step 3, determine what each sibling gets. Okay, if there's 4 of you, the house is worth $100,000. The simplest way is each of you get a fourth of it. Okay, but I don't think that's fair if there's a sibling that, let's say, help mom pay the mortgage, help dad pay the mortgage, put repairs into it. The fair thing to do, guys, you have to have grace with your siblings, is you need to take that into consideration. If somebody has put $10,000, $15,000, $30,000 in the property, I think it's only fair that they should get that money back. On the other hand, if you are the sibling who was doing all those repairs, helping mom and dad pay the mortgage because maybe you made more money than your other siblings, you are doing that out of your kindness, okay? It's not your responsibility per se to take care of your parents, but me personally, I believe you should take care of your parents. And if you believe in the Bible, you should honor your parents. I personally believe that, but you were doing it out of the kindness of your heart, and your siblings technically do not owe you, okay? But the fair thing to do is, of course, you should get compensated for what you put into that. But you can also have grace with your siblings if especially you are that makes more money, and say, you know what, let's just split it in 3. We're all siblings. Let's all move on. You know how much each sibling is getting, so you simply make an offer. So I'm going to simplify it. I'm not including if somebody had to put repairs in it or paid the mortgage, but there's 4 siblings. You're buying out the other 3. So you would pay $75,000 for the property and you would keep your $25,000 for yourself. So that's how you would split the proceeds. But actually, let me break down if you put repairs into it, there's a mortgage into it, and let's say the house is worth $100,000 and you have to pay the $50,000 because that's mortgage, fees, expenses, then you're actually only splitting the $50,000 after you pay all the debts. If you don't have the cash to buy out your siblings, you can always refinance with the bank and get the money that way. You're going to need good credit and there's going to have to be equity in the home. And generally speaking, banks do not like fixer-uppers. So if the house is a fixer-upper, you might have trouble getting a refinance loan on the property. Once you buy your siblings out, do not do what's called a quick claim deed and just go down to the county. Make sure you get a warranty deed, and I recommend you go through an attorney or title company and make sure all the documents are notarized, and make sure your siblings sign a document that specifically states that they have sold the rights to the property and they do not want anything to do with the property, okay? You have to be specific because I would hate for you to buy the property, right? You believe the property is yours, and let's say you pass away and the transfer wasn't done correctly, and let's say it goes back to your parents, and now your siblings are getting the property all over again, or your kids try to take possession of the property because they're inheriting it from you, but it wasn't transferred correctly. And now your other siblings still have rights to the property. And let's say some of them pass away. Now their kids have rights to the property and maybe people aren't getting along, or maybe there's a long lost kid that nobody knows where he is and he has to sign off on the property. And now you cannot transfer the property to your kid's name. So that's why you want to make sure all the paperwork is done correctly and it's notarized. So if you try to refinance a house and you get denied by the bank, I do have a credit expert that can help you fix up your credit. But if your credit is far gone and you need a cash offer, click the link in the bio and would love to give you one.